Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Thursday, August the 21st. And welcome to our commentary and welcome to another chat with our good friend George Rodriguez from South Texas. George, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's always
Thank you for
great to
inviting
have
me
you.
again.
It's always great to have you. Well, I think we're going to do the post game show today on the maps. So we'll be talking a little bit about that and some of the consequences as you see them. I'm very, very interested in those four districts in South Texas and how you think that's going to go. I think the other one's in Houston, right? Houston or Austin? Where is it?
It's Houston.
It's Houston. Okay, all right. So we can talk about that. But it's those four in South Texas that are really interesting. So I want to hear about that. But before we go to the maps, there was a major, whatever the word is, reversal, or they threw out the big penalty against President Trump, the 500 million penalty in that fraud case. And look, I'm glad they did that. But I think my feeling, George, and I want to get your reaction. My feeling is that there were two messages here. The first message was that the court in New York was saying, we don't do that here because we don't want to target people and go after them like that for political or whatever reason, because we don't want to drive off investors. We don't want New York to get the reputation of being a banana republic. And so I think that was part of the reason for doing this. And the other thing that I think has to be analyzed is the role of this judge, because it became very obvious to me, and I wasn't watching it every day, and I'm not a court reporter or anything like that, but I would every once in a while I would check in with this case. And it became very obvious to me as an outsider looking in that at some point the judge knew that there was no fraud, that the banks were saying he didn't do anything wrong. The insurance company was saying, we value our own properties. We don't depend on the opinion of our customers. So it was obvious to anybody watching this that there was no fraud. And yet the judge kept it going. And that, I think, is a major violation of his responsibility as a judge. I mean, I expect Letitia James, as a highly partisan Democrat, to act in a very high partisan way. I understand that. I don't defend it, but I can understand it. But you're expecting a judge to be just a little bit better, George. So I'm hoping they take action against the judge because he's the one that let this thing go, George.
I agree. New York being a center of businesses, of business headquarters, this situation of going after a businessman for the way he conducted business, it really, really sent the wrong message. Again, the radical left, who really doesn't care about rich people as they claim, who really doesn't care about big businesses as they claim, were rabid to go after him because he's Donald Trump, because he's defeated them, because he's exposed them, and they were ready to hang him in this kangaroo court. And I think that when sensibility was brought to light, that's everything that they had done just didn't hold water. And that's why it was the penalty was determined to be just too excessive. If they would have let this continue, they would have let this stand, any politician anywhere in the country would be able to prosecute a businessman or a business company for whichever reason that they wanted to, and they could continue doing it ad nauseum like this judge was doing it. Mm-hmm. And I, for one, think I support the ruling completely and totally. I think it's the most sensible.
Absolutely. And I think that in the case of New York, I was watching, a year ago, whenever this was, I think it was last summer, and I was watching some of the opinions. And the one that really struck me was the opinion of this businessman, Tim O'Leary. I think he moves a lot of money around. Let me put it that way. He's one of these people that moves a lot of capital. and as a consequence moves a lot of companies. And he was very critical of it last year, saying, "Where's the fraud? Who was defrauded?" And he was saying that he's basically discouraging people from investing in New York. And I think when that got around to the judges and the judges understood the consequences of this, economic consequences, I think they said, no, we don't want that. That's not good for us, like you say, for business. I think Trump was obviously able to defend himself and was able to take the hit that very few other people would have taken or would have been able to take. So I think it was the state of New York saying, no, we don't want this kind of politics in New York because it doesn't do us any good. Whether we like or hate New York, whether we love or hate Trump, that's not really the issue. The issue is, do we allow that kind of banana republic politics to prevail in New York? And I think they said, no way. And I have to believe that most business people in New York and most reasonable people look at that and go, yeah, that sounds right to me, George.
There was a very interesting article in the Wall Street Journal this past weekend about how the only way, or it was the New York Post, it was the New York Post that clearly said that the only way that Mamdani and other radical Democrats will ever be successful in New York and in California and in other places is for them to overturn the entire Constitution, justice system, and the economic system. Those three things. And, it's going to be very, very tough for them to do that, hopefully. But, this was clearly a situation where it was politics against a businessman. And, business is business, particularly capitalism, that can be very, very ruthless in itself. I mean, the winner take all type situation. And these folks were trying to blame Trump for being Trump and for being successful in his business.
Right. Well, they were accusing him of committing a fraud.
Yes.
Which he never committed. And this is why I hold this so much against the judge, because the judge knew at some point in that trial, the judge knew
it wasn't a fraud. It was just business. It was just business.
Right, exactly. And I think the judge had to see that this was a hit job and that he had a responsibility to protect the justice system, and should have been able to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm stopping this, and I'm sending this back to the attorney general with instructions to, if you want to continue, you got to show me where he committed fraud.
Yeah. The sad thing, though, Silvio, the dangerous thing, in my opinion, though, is that we have a lot of people that a lot of radical Democrats who believe that capitalism, who believe that private business is wrong. Right. And not only because it's Trump, but because any type of private business, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, along with other various cities, have a very active renters union effort, which is determined to create a situation where properties, which is what Trump was dealing with, where private properties become governed by the government so that rents can be controlled.
Right.
And I think that becomes a very, very dangerous situation. In this situation, they were going after Trump specifically, but they were using that logic.
Right. And, I think they were clearly going after
him.
Absolutely. They were clearly. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
I think that it's very, very dangerous. They were using him as the excuse to go after the system.
Absolutely. And I think, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I think the judge who's supposed to be representing justice, he's supposed to be, I know they're appointed by politicians. I realize that. But they're supposed to be a little bit better than that.
Correct.
And when you're a judge and you're seeing a man accused of fraud, but there's no fraud, I think you should have at least stopped the case and say, okay, Madam Attorney General, where's the fraud? Because nobody can see it. And this case should have been stopped back then. But I'm glad. I'm glad for not just for Trump, but I'm glad for our system that this
Yes.
something like this was not allowed to go on. But I will tell you, who is Trump? Is Trump going to go back and sue them for all the damages? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know because I mean he
I hope
lost a lot of
so.
money. He had to defend himself, and he lost a lot of money in defending himself.
Well, I would think so. All those attorneys, and then he also had to pay. He had to get an insurance policy to pay for the bond.
Correct.
So I don't know how much that is. I mean, I assume that he has remedies, and I hope he uses them.
Well, see, and that's the other aspect to this whole thing. Now that he has won, he's liable, and I hope he does it, but he is liable to go back and sue the state, and then the taxpayers are going to have to pay for it. So
Well,
the judge and the attorney general have put the state of New York's taxpayers in a bad situation.
Yeah, although technically, I don't think he was found not guilty. I mean, in other words, they still. I think what they said, okay, and I don't want to get too technical because we want to talk about the maps, but I think what the judge said was that they found him. They said, okay, you were guilty.
The fines were excessive.
Yeah, the fines. So it wasn't that they said you were completely free.
No.
But they were saying the fines were excessive, which is, I think, the fines were. I mean, had they said, okay, you're guilty of having done this or that, we're going to give you $1,000 fee, charge you $1,000 fee or whatever for.
It's just the fact that he's had to defend himself, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Problem.
No, I agree, and I think that judge has a lot of explaining to do. But let's get to these maps because the maps were passed. I guess that would have been Wednesday night. I don't know about you, but I've been hearing a lot about Jim Crow and the Voting Rights Act and all kinds of really ridiculous things that the people saying it. I mean, they should be embarrassed. There's one person today even brought up slavery. That somehow this was about. I mean, these people sometimes they go too far, which ends up hurting them. But as it turns out, the maps are now will be effective. The maps will be effective at the next election, and whether or not California can do what they're doing,
which is November of next year.
Right. Now, whether California can do what they're doing, I'm not sure. It's a little bit more confusing out there. And I don't really know. I don't really know what's going to happen out there. I'll leave that to others. But we now have a map that has 5 new districts, basically. And let's do the one in Houston is who Al Green, I believe, is the Democrat who was replaced, right, by that district, right? So Al Green is going to be, and that district, I assume, will go to a Republican in the Houston area.
Well, I mean, it certainly is no longer just. I mean, what's really funny in this claim that it's old slavery is that many of these districts were intended for blacks to be the majority so that blacks would be elected. And that was because the Democrats and the civil rights movement were pushing it. Now, excuse me, but I am flabbergasted. I'm confused that they claim that they want desegregation, but that they were creating segregation in this voting. So it is. I mean, the district that Al Green is representing at this point will become now more desegregated and more diverse. Let's use their words. More diverse, and in all probability, he's not going to be able to get elected again.
No, well, it's the same thing with Jasmine Crockett. She's going to be. Looks like she's going to be running against 2 other Democrats in a primary here in the Dallas area. But another Democrat who I think lost his seat also was this fellow, very, very liberal, Azar, is it, from Houston?
Kassar.
From Houston, Kassar.
Yeah,
from Houston, who I think he's history too.
Yes,
he's history.
He lost his district completely. He is going to be competing. He's going to be competing against an old style Democrat in Austin now, and
Is that Doggett? Is that Doggett?
Doggett
Yeah,
against
okay.
Lloyd Doggett, and his district is strictly Austin now.
Right.
So they're going to be able to fight it out by themselves.
Right. Now, then we come down to South Texas, where there are 4 new districts.
Correct.
Now, these 4 new districts is Henry Cuellar in one of these 4 districts?
Yes. Okay. Henry Cuellar is in District 28.
Okay.
And it has been expanded to include. It has lost a little bit of San Antonio, but it has gained larger areas that have been traditionally Republican, and 2 counties that went completely Republican this past year.
So that's going to be a tougher re-election for Henry Cuellar.
It's going to be a much tougher for him. Plus, Henry Cuellar is looking at a terrible legal fight over his indictment regarding the misuse of his powers as a congressman for lobbyists, and for getting money illegally, from lobbyists.
So that's so more than likely
that within itself would do him in if he kept it. If the district would have been kept, but now
because the old one he also had a pretty big fight. The last time around, he had a pretty big fight in the old one as well. So let's say that's Henry Cuellar.
That's Henry Cuellar.
Then the next one is Vicente Gonzalez.
That's 34.
Okay.
And 34 also has been expanded to take in more rural areas that are traditionally Republican. And it also includes 2 more counties that went Republican under Trump.
So that's Myra Flores, you think?
No, that's 15. That's another one.
Okay. So who do you think the Republican? Is there a Republican that
there are several? There are several running in that one.
So there's no one person yet.
No.
Well, I guess they still it's going to be a while.
For that one. A lot of people were waiting. A lot of people were waiting to see how it looked before. I'm sure that now that it's no sooner that the ink is dried from the governor signing it, that we will hear of people stepping forward to run for it.
Okay, so then that's those 2, and then there's 2 others that are brand new, right? I mean, those 2.
Well, it's let me see. I'm looking at it and I'm trying to remember which one.
But this is not the one connected to El Paso, right? That's
no. That's another one. That's that.
But they're going to leave that one. Pretty much stays alone.
That one's okay. That one's 23,
and that stays Democrat. I mean that.
No, that's Tony Gonzalez. He's a Republican.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, so he's okay then.
And he's got some challengers, but I think he's going to be okay.
But in the primary, you mean he's got Republican challengers?
He's got challengers, but as far as congressmen, we don't know who's on that one.
So down there you have 4 districts, and I think you can safely assume that you will have 4 Republicans, perhaps some Hispanic Republicans will win those districts.
Probably some Hispanic Republicans. Yeah.
So
we will also have a new congressman in 21, which is here in San Antonio, because Chip Roy has announced today that he is going to run for attorney general.
But that's a safe district, though. I mean,
it's mostly Republican, although it did gain some Democrat influence now, because it covers San Marcos, which has San Marcos and Hays County, which has become a big Democrat haven. So
any thought of who's going to replace Chip Roy?
No, in fact, he just announced.
That won't be. He just announced today. Yeah. So
that we won't know anything about that. Yeah. And then District 20, which is Congressman Castro, the Democrat, and that one has been shrunk to include only the southwest part of San Antonio, the west side of San Antonio, and he's pretty much left alone. But literally,
so he's pretty safe.
He's pretty safe.
Okay, so they protected him. I guess that's what they did. Yeah,
they isolated him. I think I would use the word isolated him.
Right. Yeah. So basically, what you have is very likely 5 new Republicans in the Congress.
Correct.
Okay, all right, and okay, so that's what everybody was saying. But I think the way it was
Some
being
people,
presented,
if you can believe it, some people are upset because they said there should have been 7 new or Republicans. But you know,
well,
uh,
now
I'm happy with 5.
yeah, no, I think that's fine. But there's also talk that because of the census and the mistakes that were made, that we probably should have had more than 5, or at least corrected the last map, the map that just worked in 24, I guess.
Well,
So
and if Trump has his way, and non-citizens, particularly
right.
illegals, are not counted, then that might change it completely, even more so.
How much of that problem, because we know that it impacts California, that's for sure, because they almost plan it that way out there. But how much of an impact do you think that would have in Texas? If you did not count illegals in the census, how much of an impact do you think that would have in Texas?
I think it
Uh,
would have a good impact. I think it definitely would impact El Paso. I think it
okay.
definitely would impact Laredo, the Rio Grande Valley, and San Antonio and Houston. It
So
would
some of the Democrat districts might be at risk.
the Democrat districts are the ones that would end up being hurt more than
Right.
the Republican ones,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because many of those people live in the cities.
Hmm.
They
Right.
live in the cities. Um, Now, this is supposed to go to a challenge, as you know. They say they're going to take it to the courts. I was watching Governor Abbott yesterday, and he feels very confident that
Yes.
they will win in the courts. And one thing I've learned about Governor Abbott, maybe it's because he used to be Attorney General.
Yes.
Abbott knows what he's doing when he gets in the
A
courts.
very, very successful attorney.
Yes. I mean, he has not a single case has been
Great legal
overturned.
mind. He's got a
Yes.
great legal mind.
And sometimes sometimes I think that Abbott, even though he's the governor, knows the attorney general job so well that when he gets the information, he says, "Wait a minute, let's do this because this is what will work." So he's almost like dual duty. You know, he's the governor, but he's also the attorney general. I don't mean any disrespect to Paxton, but when you look at Governor Abbott, nothing that he has put forward has been reversed by a court. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I have to believe that when these seats or these districts were put together, that they looked at all the potential challenges and took care of that before they made the maps, George.
Yeah. Especially when you've got districts that are majority minority, which is what they were wanting.
Right.
That's what they were wanting. Now that there are these districts are small, as well as we've got integrated districts. And what's wrong with integrated districts?
Right. And there's a Supreme Court opinion, I believe, that could come out that could actually impact these maps even more.
Yes.
That I don't know when that's coming out. I mean,
well, there is the Supreme Court challenges to the 1965 Civil Rights Act,
right.
which says that the Voting Rights Act only applied to southern states.
Right.
Southern states have said, that was targeted, that that was based on media, and now if they remove it and it's it affects everybody, then or that it doesn't affect everybody to this that it is removed or challenged completely. I mean, the state of Texas wins either way.
Right. Let me ask you one more question. These maps, of course, are congressional maps of
Yes.
federal elections. Is there going to be a movement to redo the state maps as well for the state
Probably.
legislature? Yeah. Because I mean, the logic is the same.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest with the state rep districts are smaller, obviously.
Correct.
But still, I mean, many of these ideas.
Number one, they're going to have to redo them. They're going to have to redo
right.
them in the next census at least. But
right.
they may be able to do it now. And if they do it now, it'll be because they have to. I mean, the growth of the population of Texas has been dramatic in the past 10 years. Dramatic.
That's what I was
And
saying.
that's why they have, I mean, they can justify it very easily by that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just between 20 and 25, the popular right there in Austin, in that central Austin area,
Yeah.
the population growth has been unbelievable. I mean, look, all you have to do is drive through it.
Correct.
Drive through Austin.
City, you know, Austin back in 2000 was something like 700,000. Now it's over 1 million.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you that Austin is getting big. Whenever they talk about, potentially bringing a Major League Baseball team, that
yeah. And San Antonio's very worried about that. I mean, San Antonio has always been the big brother in the big city in this corridor, and now all of a sudden, Austin is challenging. So
right. Well, that whole area down there, anybody who's driven, and I've done it many times, between Dallas, and you get down to Waco, and then from Waco to San Antonio, it's like the explosion.
Yeah,
is just unbelievable. I-35 they're going to have to build 6 lanes going to the top, to fit all the cars on I-35, and then of course the commercial traffic, all these trucks,
yes,
moving stuff. So it's just the growth is just absolutely remarkable. Well, one quick thing, George. California, I think, has gone ahead and prepared itself for their 5,
right?
And then other states that are saying that they're going to do
Massachusetts,
it. Yeah,
and Illinois have all said that they're going to redistrict. Themselves.
Well, the problem
now, the
is
funny thing of that, the funny thing with that is that they've already redistricted themselves to the point that there are no Republicans in some of those states, and now they're going to redo it and do it some more.
Well,
if anybody's going to have a legal challenge, it might be them.
Yeah. Well, in Massachusetts, it's already 10-0.
Yes.
In Maryland, is 8-1, and in Illinois, it's 14-3.
So I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. There's not a lot of squeezing they can do there of those districts. But I mean, look, I think what Governor Newsom is doing in California is pure show.
Yes.
Because he's basically, they're rewriting the rules out there to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert in California, but that's what I'm hearing, so he may have some challenges, but we wish him well out in California. We wish him well, but it's going to be interesting. But George, it's interesting. We started talking about this several weeks ago. So we finally got to do the post-game show. And I think Governor Abbott worked out pretty well here. I think he should be sitting pretty.
I think he's led the Republican Party in the United States and in Texas in a beautiful manner on this issue. Really, really done a great job of it.
The guy is brilliant. I mean, I'm telling you, the more that I see Abbott on television when he does interviews with the national media, the guy is brilliant. He really is.
One of the things, while we hear that the Democrats are threatening to redistrict, there are some Republican states that are saying, well, maybe we'll have to too. And I think that there will be some states that are dominant Republican who are going to follow the lead of Texas. And
Missouri is one of them. Missouri is one of them. Missouri.
And that can't be good for the Democrats.
No. And in Florida, Governor DeSantis, I saw him on TV the other day in Florida. He was saying, hey, look, we got screwed by the census, and we've had a tremendous change in population. So he's almost making the same case that Abbott is making.
Yep.
So we'll see.
States that have grown the most are Republican states.
Sure have. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one. Yeah, that's for sure. Well, George, thank you so much. Thank you for chatting with us throughout the whole campaign here.
My pleasure.
Of these maps. And we finally got maps. So we'll see the next time.
Who's gonna get elected to what?
Well, that's it. And that's going to be our next focus over the next few weeks. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Our good friend, George Rodriguez down in San Antonio. We've been talking about these maps for some time, and we finally got it done. I mean, there are going to be new maps. And I think the question now, of course, is, what happens? Because you still have to have elections down the road. On the surface, it looks like 5 Republicans will fill those seats. pretty good chance of that probably happening. I would say, I never say 100%, but pretty close to that, I think. But again, I think Governor Abbott has handled this so beautifully, whether it was the immigration issue and now the maps. Sometimes I wish that sometimes I wish he could run for president, but it just wasn't his time. You have to have a time to run for president, and his time just didn't work out. But the man has been an excellent governor, and I don't know what to say. I am so happy that I voted for him the 3 different times that I did, 14, 18, and 22. And I hope he runs again in 26, because he's just been an absolutely excellent, absolutely fabulous governor of Texas. Thank you for listening. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later.